All right, get in loser, we're going healing. You're not lazy, you're not unmotivated, you're not still figuring it out, you're not lost, as you keep telling yourself. You are just sabotaging your own success over and over and over again without you realizing. You're not stuck, but it's almost like you're standing inside of a prison made up of your beliefs with the door wide open. And you're waiting for someone to come and open that door. But nobody will come and open that door because it's actually your door and only your door. It's your life and it's your beliefs. And most of all, it's your responsibility and nobody else's. Not a lot of people will tell you this unless they really care about you, but you have been sitting on your potential for way too long. You have dreams, you have ideas, you have passions, you have talents, and you have skills. But what do you do with all these? You delay, you distract yourself, you steer away from the path that scares you a lot, and you abandon yourself. Why is that? Because you're always sabotaging your own success. You feel like you don't deserve it. So, of course, you're not gonna start anything. You procrastinate. You start something, but you can't finish it to the end. You use up the excuse that you're just researching a little bit more, or you're just preparing yourself a little bit more. You scroll more on TikTok. You keep making up excuses for yourself as to why you shouldn't continue in that thing. And then you beat yourself up for it, and you end up crying because nothing in your life is changing. And you may not even hate your circumstances. You could be just fine with staying exactly where you are, but you hate the fact that these circumstances are not changing while you're staying the same. You're scared to move without a guarantee. You're scared to move without a safety net around you. You just want to make sure that all the unknown is going to be known first before you start. So instead of starting, you tie your entire identity around feeling stuck. So this is the excuse that you give yourself to not feel guilty. And you're just going to keep self-pitying your life, and you're going to keep victimizing your life and just hoping that one day life will magically just will change for you without you having to do any work. You just hope that maybe one day somebody will come and save you. Somebody will come and give you the opportunity. But listen, I say this with love. Nobody is going to do that for you. Nobody is going to come and give you the opportunity on a silver platter. Nobody will come to rescue you. Nobody will come to save you. Nobody will walk the road for you. So let's talk about the reason why you sabotage. Self-sabotage is not a flaw. It's not because that you're weak. Everybody at one point did it in their life. You will only come out of it once you realize the fact that it's just a protection mechanism. So it's like your wounded inner child is telling you that, listen, like if we do fail on purpose, at least we'll be able to control the pain. But the unknown, the success, is something that we don't know, so let's just not go there. Because maybe when you were younger, you were only praised when you were perfect. You were told to not dream too big. You saw people around you that succeeded and they got torn apart for it. Or maybe when you were shining the most, you were abandoned or hurt, betrayed or embarrassed. So now your nervous system equates that success equals danger. Every time you get too close to success, that's when you pull the plug and that's when you call it quits on everything that you've ever started. So basically, you're just going ghost, not on people, but on your dreams. That way, you can leave first before they leave you. You can't keep thinking that something external will magically shift so that you're able to start, okay? If it's more money, if it's more freedom, if it's a better support system, if it's more motivation, if it's a clearer sign, if somebody's going to help you on the path or give you advice. And Brianna Wiest also says the same thing in her book, This Is How You Heal. It was something along the lines of nothing ever shifted on the outside unless something must have shifted on the inside. That shift has to happen internally first until you change your beliefs. And until you stop looking at life through a victim mentality. And until you stop playing small because it feels safer for you, literally nothing will change. Okay, just take it from me. Nothing will change. You have to hold yourself accountable for how you're self-sabotaging. You cannot just sugarcoat things in life and think that they're magically going to fix themselves. You just have to first hold yourself accountable and be really aware of your own toxic traits and put them out on the table. This is going to be the most uncomfortable place that you will ever stand in your life. But this is going to be the only place that you're going to stop feeding yourself all of these pointless excuses. You can lie to other people. You can sugarcoat your choices. You can rewrite the story of you becoming successful in 1,000 different ways. But when you look at yourself in the mirror, it only reflects reality. It's that tough reality that you don't want to accept. And you have been avoiding that mirror for too long. I was reading this book for David Goggins titled Can't Hurt Me. And he was basically explaining in this chapter that it was only when he looked at himself in that mirror and he called out himself on his shit, what he calls the accountability mirror. You basically talk to yourself out in the accountability mirror and you hold yourself accountable every single day over, for example, the things that you did do and you didn't do. The first step to change is to actually admit and realize what it is that needs to be changed. Before things can change to the better and be corrected, you first have to admit to yourself what is actually wrong. You can never change if you never admit that there is fault. You need to own yourself. You need to own your mistakes. No self-pity. No victimizing yourself. You think that you need more time. You think that you need more clarity, more motivation. But really, you just need to get honest with yourself. You need to be brutally self-aware. Because at the end of the day, your beliefs either will make you or break you. So you need to make sure that your beliefs are helping you build your freedom and your success and not building you a cage or a prison. And coming from somebody that literally used to doubt themselves so much and have like the worst inner critic from a really long time, even before I started doing corporate, I really wanted to do YouTube. But at the time, I was just like a broke uni student. I couldn't like get a camera. And this is why I was making up all these excuses for myself that like YouTube is just not for me. Like I'm just gonna avoid it. I'm just gonna do corporate like everybody else. And I was basically dimming my own light just because of the excuses that I kept making up for myself inside my head. But then, once I really got like burnt out in corporate, I realized that nobody else is going to come save me. I thought I was going to start YouTube when I was like fully prepared and I have my own place and somehow, some way, because I was at such a low point in my life, like mentally, I realized that I have to start even though I'm in the trenches. Nobody is going to help me do that without me starting to begin with. This didn't change until I sat with myself and I got brutally self-honest and self-aware, and I asked myself like what it is that I'm so scared of, what it is that I'm so fearful of. And this is what I realized. I was literally terrified of the fact of being seen. And it's of course it's easier said than done. Even when people around me were giving me so much advice, like do it and just don't care about what people think. They're not gonna pay your bills. They're not gonna, do much for you. People are gonna talk either ways if you succeed or if you fail. But what's important is that you start. No matter how much advice that you get from the people around you, unless you really believe it deep down that you're able to succeed, you're not going to take anybody's advice. And especially if you're a stubborn person like me. I was just waiting to be more confident. I was waiting for a little bit more clarity. I was waiting for a sign from God. These things were never gonna come. Like, who was I lying to? Only when it got too quiet for me and it got silent and messy, like I was having breakdowns every other day, I just realized to myself that I was the only one keeping me here. Nobody else. It was not my circumstances. It was the belief that I couldn't change anything right where I was. So you're not stuck. You're just scared of being seen failing. You're scared to be seen starting small. You're just used to being disappointed all the time. So this is why you are avoiding having a little glimpse of hope. But stuck? No, I don't think so. You're waiting for someone to come and choose you. Only then will you realize that only you need to choose yourself. You are waiting for life to present you with a miracle, but you don't realize that it's you who is the miracle. It's you who's going to start this miracle with your hard work and with your dedication, with constantly showing up and being consistent with your efforts. You don't have to have it all figured out. I promise you, you do not need to have it all figured out. Rather than telling yourself, I can't change anything, my circumstances are always going to be doomed, and I'm always just going to stay right where I am. Instead, ask yourself, what's one thing that I can change today? What's one small thing that I could do today for my future? You're not unmotivated, but you're just misaligned. And you're not lazy, but you're just scared. You are not incapable, but rather you're protecting the inner child version of you that's still scared. But protecting that wounded inner child without healing them. Protecting your past wounds is only costing you your future blessings. You don't need to hustle any harder, but you just need to start healing, and only then will you become aligned with your truest self. Your success isn't somewhere that's like really, really, really far as you imagine it to be, but it's actually just on the outside of resistance. You just have to learn to be able to sit in that discomfort that growth brings you. So here's the mindset shift on this. Start by becoming very clear and honest about your beliefs. Literally write them down, okay? Just anywhere, on a piece of paper, on your notes app. Write down the very beliefs that are keeping you stuck. Literally write down like, I can't do this because of so and so. This will not work because of so and so. Okay, just get brutally honest with yourself. I'm not ready until I do so and so. Now that you're clear on your beliefs, challenge every single one of them. Literally challenge every thought and challenge every negative belief that you have about yourself. Ask yourself, who told you that? Is it valid? Is it true? Is it a fact or is it just a fear? Who told me that in my childhood? Who made me believe that I was not able to achieve that thing? You can even dive deeper if you want. Name the fear. What is it? Is it judgment? Is it leaving people behind? Is it the fact that you think having a lot of money is correlated with being evil? Maybe you think that people will abandon you when you do become successful. Write it down and make sure that you also notice the pattern. When is it exactly in the process of success that you start to self-sabotage? Is it right before you start or right after you start? Right before posting? Right before launching? Investing in yourself? What is it? Now that you got clear on whatever fears that you have, make sure to heal that part of you. If you do not heal that wounded inner child that's scared, of being seen or whatnot, your inner child will always keep controlling your life and it will always keep running the show for you. You're not going to operate from a place of your truest self, but rather you're going to always operate from a place of fear. And this is not the real you. Look up some inner child healing practices. Affirm to yourself that I'm safe to be seen, I'm safe to be successful. And finally, start to take a small step in the direction that you want to go. If it's posting a video, if it's launching the business, if it's launching the brand, it doesn't have to be perfect, but rather just a step, a step of change, a step towards change. You just need the courage. You don't need any more signs. You don't need any more support. You just need the courage to start. Because as soon as you start, that will then give you the confidence. That will then give you the clarity. That will then give you the dedication. Nothing will change unless you move. Start where you are. Take the first step and then build on top of that. Another one and another one and another one. You will start seeing results only when you're being consistent, and watch your truest self literally unfold right in front of your eyes and realize that it was within you all along and you didn't need anybody else's support or anybody else's validation or encouragement or support. You were not put on this earth to almost become something that you've dreamt of. You weren't given these visions for nothing. You weren't given these visions to sit on them out of fear. That just doesn't make sense. You were meant to shine and you were meant to live your life to the fullest and be aligned with your true calling in life. Okay, just remember that if you are overthinking something so much, then this means that you do not trust yourself. Just know that the more that you overthink, you are not preparing yourself for your biggest failures, but rather you're actually manifesting that inside of your head because your thoughts create your reality. I'm sure you've heard this a million times, but it's so true. So you need to stop expecting failure. You need to stop expecting that things will go south and make sure to believe it deep down that you're really worthy of success and to trust in yourself and trust that you are not alone and you don't have to control every single little thing in your life, but rather there's always a higher power and there's always God protecting you and He's always leading you onto the right direction. He already wrote down your path and He already wrote down your lifeline, so there's nothing that you can mess up. You cannot possibly just mess up your future. You are always on the right path. You are exactly right where you need to be. You didn't waste any time. You just needed to go through that in order to grow mentally and become emotionally resilient. The world does not need another perfectly polished person. It needs rawness and it needs authenticity and it needs realness. So get out of your own way and stop self-sabotaging your own success and start living like the story that you were always meant to tell.